welcome to the LoE Classic Cars 5-lap championship. This is something that we're going to be running in the LoE League. Just as a side for the break week that we're going to be having in the league. So we've got a bunch of drivers here, 15 in total, ready to go and yeah, put on a show for us all. So, you can see we've got quite a lot of familiar faces from within the league, as well as a couple of lesser known people. I'm seeing that James hasn't got his car selected, so hopefully we can get that sorted out. Just quickly before we get going, I'm going to link the stream. Just going to link it quickly to the chat. There we go. And yeah, just as Montana has just put in the chat, I just want to say that to all the drivers, try and keep it clean. This is a fun championship, not to be taken too seriously, but at the same time, don't let your standards drop. We're eager to put on a good show for everyone. So, I guess with that, we're ready to get going. So, yeah, hopefully this all goes well. As you see, the first race is going to be at Japan using the 2003 Williams car, a championship contending car driven by Kimi Räikkönen. And yeah, a 2003 season, certainly one of the best of the century in my opinion. So yeah, certainly the race should be one to look forward to around such an iconic track such as Suzuka. Just trying to get my stream chat up quickly. I want to see who's chatting about. There we go. Right. So we're just waiting for the drivers to ready up. I believe we're starting with a one-shot qualifying session to kick things off. And from there on in, it'll just be random grids, 5-lap races, just to spice things up a little bit. And hopefully a really good show. So you can see the cars all lined up. Actually, I think we're just jumping straight in. So yeah, there's no one-shot qualifying. I apologise for that. And here we go now. Away we go. And you see there's already some contact off the line. Cars swearing out in the background. We've got Dan and Montana leading up at the front of the race. Asahina is already out. And I believe damage was on reduced or even completely off. So not a great start to him. I don't know how he's managed that. But anyway, we've got Montana at the front. One of the fastest drivers in LoE, D1 Ace, and him being placed right at the front with the random grid. He is going to be a difficult one to stop, but there's going to be a lot of good racing up and down the field, hopefully. So we'll be able to see. We've got, whoa, that's a move from Toxic at the inside of Fleet Nazram, who I believe to be either very new to the league or he's just a guest for this race. He's going to have another D3 driver, Szymetski, on his tail, who runs almost into the grass when he went to the hairpin. Very late on the brakes was RJ, looking around the outside, doesn't quite get it done. And these guys, of course, trying to get to grips with these I was going to say F2 cars, these old classic cars. And yeah, it might shape up the established order a little bit. You see there's a bit of lag there. Toxic having a go at Dylan, who squeezes him, and into the wall goes Toxic. Damage, so that damage is there, certainly on. We see that. And yeah, he showed great pace, but now he's going to drop back through the field. Further back then, or further ahead on the track. We've got Nazram leading ahead of Szymetski and RJ. And you can see the D2 driver in the background having a look. Oh, and so car's going straight over the chicane. Nazram just overshooting his breakpoint. That's going to put RJ alright on his tail now. Down the main straight to start lap 2. He moves defensive towards the inside into turn 1. Slipstream without DRS isn't as effective in these cars, but he's still having a look. Running outside of turn 1 doesn't quite make it work, and he's going to have to try again. He's got Edek got the inside of Karkinen, and Szymetski dropping back through the field. He's clearly maybe taking the tyres out of the operating window. He showed good pace earlier on, but now dropping back through the field. Got yellows in sector 1 as James works his way past FRL Maka. Packer? I don't know why I said Maka. And anyway, in the back we've got Nazram's off from a good position. His action is thick and fast here. It's quite difficult for me to keep track of everything that is going on, but certainly we've got Karkinen chasing down Edok himself right behind Ebo. We've got yellows as well. Once again, there's Edok overshoots his braking point just slightly into the hairpin. and Karkinen as well dropping back into the clutches opposite Zmetski, and they're going to go side by side. Up ahead we've got Ebo coming under pressure from Eduk. Ebuk's up the inside going into Spoon corner. They gave each other a race in respect, and Eduk goes up into 5th place. Good move from him. He's going to have Ebo chasing him down, as behind Zmetski still having a look with Mackin, Avengers Mackin having caught these two up there. So we've got a nice train as Montana just waltzes away at the front, really just showing that he has got that D2 caliber, D1 caliber prices. Up the inside goes Mackin on Zmetski, who makes another mistake. He's really struggling with this car. I guess he's just completely messed up the tyres, and he goes straight across the runoff and rejoins in a lowly 10th position, still getting points. And of course, with random grids all over the shop, there will be opportunities later on to get a big finish. As further up the road, Ebo's lost out to Mackin. Mackin looking fairly competent in these cars, having had a pretty rubbish start to the race, no other word for it. He's now trying to go after him. Actually though, he is actually coming under pressure from Ebo, so maybe he is actually struggling a little bit. Maybe he's got damage as he runs a bit deep. And we've got this battle heading on for P7 on the road as they fly through into the Degner corners. We've got yellows in sector 1. Behind them though, it's Zmetski and Packer going wheel to wheel for 10th place. We've got James out the session. Hopefully he's able to get back in, and watch as Packer's going to try and open up that exit out of the corner and have a look at the other Williams ahead of him. So you can see there are gaps appearing. Of course, some of these drivers were able to pick up the Williams better than others. So yeah, you're seeing some gaps here. Certainly Montana proving that he's no slouch in these cars either. Look at him just ease away at the front. So now Packer up behind Zmetski. Is he going to go for a move on the inside into 130R? Can they keep it clean all the way through? Better contact in the way, and Zmetski, that's just the nature of the beast, I guess. Forced onto the outside, no way of getting through. Zmetski loses out again. It was looking promising earlier on, but not so anymore. Karkinen's now been caught by Mackin, who's really got himself together after coming under pressure from Ebo earlier on. And he is now pressuring the Dutchman in P6. Eduk just up the road. Gaps are quite a few seconds from all these cars. You can see just Montana, his pace is electrifying, several seconds a lap quicker than Dan, which is no mean feat, certainly, to a driver that's improved monumentally since he first joined LoE, and that gap is just absolutely... He's going to be more than 10 seconds ahead if he keeps it up. I got yellows in sector 3. I'm just going to run down as Navram, who's spot on the main straight. Hopefully he doesn't wipe anyone out. Certainly there's enough of a gap there. As now Ebo coming under pressure from a charging Packer down the inside into the hairpin. And that's a good move there, getting it done on the brakes. Ebo goes into a spin. Just overdoing it on the traction, and he loses out to Zmetski. Montana's picked up a penalty. There's been a few penalties throughout the race, but his gap to Dan is more than big enough at this stage. But looking at it, we've got action. Even though there's gaps out there, we've had enough action to keep us entertained at all points during this race. Karkinen, who's had a quick lap up onto the back of Eduk, almost into 130R, and of course a lot of confidence from Eduk there round the outside. He's able to keep things going and remain ahead of Karkinen behind him. As behind him though, Nico, who looks pretty handy in these cars as well, has now crawled up onto the back of Mackin. As we start the final lap of this race, Montana's already well on his way in this final lap. What a performance from him. Just when the random grid put him P2 on the grid, you sort of saw it coming that he'd be right on it, and yet his pace has just been on another level to everyone else. But looking throughout the field, they've got Dylan sitting in a solid P3. That's well done to him. As you can see, Mackin's struggling. This first sector, he's not... he's having a lot of trouble with it. I reckon he does have some wing damage. It's not very visible. Packer has caught up to these guys as well, so that's going to make things very intriguing. He runs off into the gravel though out of Degner 1. That is going to cost him dearly in this scrap. So now, as we've got Karkinen, has moved his way past Eduk, Packer... Nico still looking at the back of Mackin. and a lot of battling going on. But up towards the front, we're going to go with Montana. It has been an absolutely just dominant drive from him. He takes the first win of this 5-lap championship, but believe me, there's still a long way to go. Behind him, Dan will come through for a solid drive to P2. Karkinen will maintain that P5. But behind them, though, this is where things are going to get interesting. Nico is still within touching distance of Mackin. It's all going to come down to the confidence through one further they are. And it's Mackin who actually runs wide out of the corner. So round the outside goes Nico. Can he get it done? He's going to look for it through the second part. And now it's going to be side by side, run to the line. Mackin and Nico is going to overwhelm them and take that 7th place on the line. Packer jumps both of them, though, on penalties. Zmetski will then grab the final point of the race. So some short, fast action. That's what we come to expect from these guys. And yeah, we see a side-by-side finish as well to cap the first race of this 10-round championship. So it's going to be a long evening, and I hope you're all strapped in because we are in for a treat. As we're just waiting for the last few cars. James, who hasn't managed to get himself back in, hopefully someone can invite him. And Montana's speaking in the chat. Get in there. I think you had that a bit easy. Come on with the grid position. But yeah. And then see Smitsky saying this is fun. I agree. It's fun to watch. Certainly. Again, the action is just so short and hard. You know, you can just get to see these drivers pushing instead of holding themselves back over a full race distance. And you get some good racing, even though a lot of the drivers haven't quite acclimatized to the cars just yet. But anyway, that's going to be it for the first race of the series. I don't know if my voice will be able to hold on all the way through it, but I will try my level best. As you can see, Montana takes a step onto the top of the podium ahead of Dan and Dylan, who gets a solid podium. Obviously, the grid positions will have quite the impact on the race results, so don't expect this podium to be repeated quite a bit throughout the evening. It's going to be mixed up, and hopefully we should get a tight championship. But it is Montana who establishes himself arguably the favourite going in with all of his pedigree, but he is able to take it ahead of Dan and Dylan. So there are the results. See quite a few penalties throughout the field. So just running down quickly, we've got Montana ahead of Dan, Dylan P3, RJ a quiet P4 from Karkinen, who had some solid moves throughout the race. He beats out Eduk, and Packer, who gains 2 places on penalty from Nico, who barely beat Mackin to the line in a thrilling side-by-side finish, and Zmetski will round out the points finishers. But just going to the standings, you'll see there's absolutely there's absolutely no difference to the race results. But hopefully throughout the season, the little mini championship I should say, we'll be able to see that really vary and hopefully come down to the wire. Just quickly, before we prepare ourselves for the next race of the championship, just going to quickly check what this race is. Give me a quick second. There we go. So the next race is at Baku in the 1972 Lotus, which I believe was driven by Emerson Fittipaldi. So another fairly iconic championship winning car. Lotus, of course, were dominant in those days in Formula 1. I've noticed of the points... Oh god, don't tell me the points are going to reset themselves when they change car. I really hope that they add up, because you can see there, you know, only the two guys that haven't changed actually still have points to their tally. So yeah, hopefully this doesn't go too badly. We're just waiting for Karkinen. Everyone else seems to have switched in, which is nicely done. Unfortunately, not sure if James can get in. I'm not sure. Hopefully, someone else can get out. Am I going blind, or is he not here? Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see, is Montana's here. Apparently he's in position 2. Uh, yeah, that's completely random order. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm gonna level with you guys. I'm worried about this. But we've got some new guys here, I believe. Car Mentalist, or yeah, Mentalist, Roar Panda, and Yurun. Hopefully these guys can fit in nicely and give us some good racing. But yeah, I think we may have to like tally the points up at the end or something, which could take some time. As just gonna check what's going on in the chat quickly. Just screenshot the results. That's a good shout, Montana. Cheers for that, mate. Right. So I'll just get to that. Make sure that everything's all sorted, and we can just tally it up, which will take some time. But we'd better at least have a winner. So I've taken a little precautionary screenshot as we jump in to Baku. So this is going to be an interesting one. Baku, a tight city circuit. So I reckon we could be seeing some incidents. There was some incidents in the Suzuka race, I'm not going to lie. And in a car that's much less modern than the Williams, I feel like that's going to put a lot of drivers off. So we could see some incidents. Hopefully not. I don't wish that upon any driver, but it could just be the nature of the beast. And yes, so here we go. Of course, another random grid. And we'll see how that favours, of course. That's one of the most fun parts about all this, is seeing, who's going to get put up there. We know, the likes of Montana, Dan, Dylan, RJ, they were all up front in the last race. So we'll see if any of them are up at the front in this race, and how that affects things. So we're just about to get going then. I wonder if any of these guys are sweaty enough to have setups for all these races. I wouldn't put it past some of them. There we go, the lights are coming on now. 5 lights! And they are away, and it's Asahina who gets it. Montana again getting up there with the grid. So we're all going down into turn 1. Asahina got away well. Running outside goes RJ in a P3 out of Toxic. A couple of cars. Toxic has gone into the wall. Quite a few cars backwards in the background. Of course, these cars not very easy to handle, as Dylan has got out. Hopefully we can get him back in as well, as Montana now drafts off the back of Asahina. And of course, these cars without as much top speed seem to take ages to get down this straight. Round the outside goes Montana. Can he get it done? Asahina gives him nice respect on the outside. Dylan's managed to get back in, which is good to see. Montana gets himself through turn 4, and ahead of Asahina. And you can see the man most commonly known as Cloudy putting pressure on. Packer has now caught himself on to the back of these guys. Car Mentalist has made his way past RJ, who's struggling to get to grips with this car in the early stages, evidently. As towards the back, Karkinen not having a good time at all into the escape road. Right, this is going to be interesting. Castle section. Just look at Montana. He's already adapted to this car. As Asahina runs away, that's going to put Packer, who managed to grab, I believe, P7 if I'm not mistaken, in the first race. They're going to go side by side into turn 14 and 15. Are they going to be able to make it stick? Round the outside goes Packer. Fantastic move. And Asahina's clearly not happy about that. He's swarming all over the back of him, eager to get back. And you can see Car Mentalist as well reining in these guys. But Montana again getting a good position to start the race and just taking off down the road. It really is quite impressive. And fairly lucky, must be said, for Montana. But what goes around comes around. And maybe in some of the future races, he's going to have a tougher time. As you can see, Car Mentalist almost getting into the wall. RJ does get it into the wall, and he's dragging along it. Takes him ages to get out of it. Hits it again. He's clearly really struggling with this car. Further back, though, Toxic, has gone backwards, and he has to flick spin it around. But behind him then, Asahina down the inside, potentially in a turn 1. Yes, he is. He's going to send it. Great battling for P2. It's a really forceful move. He squeezes Packer off. I'm not sure if the American's going to be very happy about that, but He's got nowhere to go into turn 2, and he's just going to have to sit back as he now goes into the wall out of turn 2. As now Packer's going to get a run there, wheel to wheel, down the back straight, and Asahina's lost out there, so Packer gets through. But now Asahina's got the slipstream. These straights are just so long in these cars that you're able to swap and change several times in the straight. Look at Montana though, he's already gone 4 seconds ahead after just over a lap. It's simply sensational. Yeah, a lot of the good action going on at the front there, so I've not been looking further back in the field too much. There's certainly some battles going on there, but this is where the real good stuff is in this battle for P2. Packer still holding it down nicely, but he has got Asahina and Carmentalist all over the back of him. And Carmentalist almost having a look into turn 7. Don't go too aggressive, especially with this castle section coming up. Look at that. Just and there's a spinner. That is Asahina, I believe he's hit the wall in the middle of the castle section. He's going to drop back. He's going to be P5 because Dan is quite a fair ways behind in P6. But still, as you can see, Dylan, who is a ghost car, is being overtaken by Abo down the inside. Into turn 13, I believe he's out again. Really, this connection clearly just isn't quite working out for him. That is a shame. But if we look at what this does for the standings, having Montana waltzing away at the front, unless he makes a major mistake, he's going to win this race. And RJ and Dan are still getting solid points, but as it stands, they're going to be a long way back in the standings, as Dylan, who also scored quite well in that first race, he's just dropping back. You see, so many cars are just hitting that wall and getting stuck on it, as we've got Zmetsky, who's made a mistake. Ibo seems to have gone slowly as well. This race is absolutely all over the place. Eric's going to take advantage of all this. Nico's out as well, who may have been taken out by Slayer, since we've got a penalty awarded to Slayer. And yet, just so many drivers unable to cope with this car. It is a handful, it must be said. So I don't exactly blame them. But wow, they are really having a difficult time. Dan, though, has really began to get to grips with it. He is hunting down Asahina. And of course, being quite a long lap at Baku and having some comparatively slow cars, it is definitely a long race. Only about 2.5 laps in. For our leaders. So further back though, we've got I believe Toxic and Mackin, those two going at it, as well as further up the field we've got Jeroen and Ibo, these guys as well catching up to the ghost car of Dylan, obviously nowhere near as quick as these highly skilled drivers. I'm not sure about that from the basis of this race, but yeah, these guys have shown week in week out that they are very good at this game. In fact, as you can see, Jeroen making a bit of an error, and now that's going to put Ebo almost side by side into the castle section. Don't try it there, Ebo. And yeah, he's wise to it and backs out. And he does the exact same mistake as Asahina, and there's more carnage down at the castle section because Zmetsky's tried to get by, and so is Eduk, and Ebo's lost out nevertheless. So just nothing Ebo could really do there, just when your car is sideways, and with the horrible ghosting system on this game. Unfortunately, that can be what happens. The battle for P2, meanwhile, has spread out just a little bit. Paco doesn't have the pace of Montana, and I don't really blame him for that. Montana just coasting to seemingly yet another easy victory. Got more yellows in Sector 2. Quite difficult to see how that ends, though, as we've got Toxic, who's dropped back behind Nazram. Toxic was up with Mackin, who we've just seen go into the wall, and these cars just seem to get stuck on the wall. I think it's to do with the fact that the rear of the car is considerably wider than the front of the car, so if you're trying to turn out of it, you just get stuck. It's behind him though. Toxic is able to make his way past Nazram out of turn 15. So we've not really got a whole lot of action anymore. I say that. We're going to have Rob Panda make his way past Slayer, who got stuck on the wall again. That's just the story of this race, isn't it? Cars just getting stuck on the outside walls, particularly onto the main straight. I have certainly. So you've got to be careful on a street circuit. You have to be alert on a street circuit, as the man himself, Julian Palmer, would say. And these guys, when they're trying to push it to the limit, they're just ending up being caught out by the width of this car. We've got more yellows in Sector 2. See if that's any of the front runners. Doesn't seem to be the case. Montana's going along quite nicely, thankfully for him. Of course, even with a still keep in the lead of the race. But this is interesting now. We've got Packer making a few mistakes, and Carmentos all of a sudden is all over the back of him, searching for that P2. He's going to go out the inside now, and they are wheel to wheel towards turn 13 and 14. But he hangs back for the time being. But he is really looking, you can see there, pressure rising back of the FRL man. And he runs wide into turn 15 as Carmentos also gets a tap on the wall. And you're going to see the slipstream of these cars in play as we are going to exit there. As we go, Asahina's made a mistake. He's bent it, going to turn 14. Oh my word! What has happened there? I think that's RJ. RJ made a mistake. He absolutely... Well, he just got well in the way of everyone else there. That caused havoc in the midfield, certainly, as Montana continues to waltz away at the front. But this is now interesting as we head on to the final lap. Packer and Carmentos going at it. Asahina's made his way past Dylan, who seems to have got back in, which is great to see, but clearly not in a great spot, as he is really struggling. But we're going to turn our attention to this battle for P2 and see if anything's going to happen. This is the best overtaking spot, I'd say, for the rest of the lap, besides potentially the run to the line, if you can get a really good exit. As RJ is out, that's big for the top guys in the championship. It's Dan now that's looking like a quiet P4 is going to be good enough for him, as Packer makes a really aggressive double move, and that's going to put him off slightly, running wide on the brakes. But Carmentos wasn't quite able to force his way through. Further back now, Smetsky and Edot going at it there. No, Smetsky and Dylan's are going at it there. Dylan holds it round the outside very nicely of turn 2, but towards turn 3 now, Smetsky has got a bit of a run, and he's going to look to the inside, is he? No, he's wise to it. Just hangs it back, and he's going to look for more opportunities later on in the lap. But back to these two guys battling over the second position on the road, with Montana long gone at the front. It's down to these guys to settle it between themselves for the second position on track, as Montana picks up a penalty. Don't think that's going to worry him. He's 15 seconds in the lead, for God's sake. But yeah, a lot of good racing. You'd see Packer much more confident through turn 13 than Carmentos was. So Carmentos has got to find this time in these next two corners. Got yellows in sector 3. Is Montana gone off? No, he seems to be just fine. And he's going to coast his way through to the finish in a comfortable P1. But the battle for P2 seems to have calmed down, actually. It looks as though Carmentos is too far back, but it is Montana on the run up to the line who takes his second win in as many races. And wow, he's moved into a dominant position. Can anyone stop him? Second place on the grid for a driver of his caliber. Clearly, that works well for him. Packer's going to hold on to P2 after a race-long battle with Carmentos. See the run that Carmentos got on the run to the line. And then it's going to be Dan coming through ahead of Asahina, who looked like he could have potentially got P2 or at least P4 if he hadn't made that mistake. And yeah, so across the line, these guys have very spread out field compared to the last race, as Eurona actually jumps up to 5th and Dylan up to 6th based on penalties. Half a 10th between himself and Asahina, so really close stuff there. And yeah, the man called Cloudy has a lost out there. Ibo looks like he's going to cruise home to P10 unless he's got penalties. And I believe he does have a penalty, so that is going to see how this plays out. Ibo crosses 10th and Slayer misses out. So I think he had penalties himself. Toxic has gone past Mackett, who seems to have made a mistake at the final corner. It's just mistakes galore, as I predicted. Just these cars not quite working. He seems to have run out of fuel, actually, because he's not picking up at all. And now he's got Nazram chasing him down. There's a run up to the line here, and Nazram is going to pull his way round into P14. And he's going to cruise through. And Mackin. I'm almost certain he's run out of fuel, guys. Come on, mate, you can do it. Just cruise it to the line. Get out the car, push it if you have to. He's weaving in celebration. Here he comes. The line's in sight. Come on, son. We're all believing in you. Everyone's behind you. Just make your way. You've only got 70 seconds. And there we go. Well done, man. So that's going to wrap up the second race of this championship, with Montana again taking it. I mean, I like Montana. He's a good guy, but hopefully to spice things up, we may just have a different winner in the next race. To spice things up, maybe a reverse grid could have been better for that. But anyway, Montana once again on top, and yeah, really comfortable. He's got Packer, and I forget who was in P3. I'm terribly sorry to that guy. So yeah, our podium drivers, congrats to them. And Montana in the chat. Surely I'm going to start last in all the remaining races. Well, yeah, what goes around comes around, mate. We'll see what happens. But it was Car Mentalist in P3. My apologies. As we look at the standings, and yes, they have thankfully updated, so we don't need to worry about that. Is Montana on top by a considerable margin of 30 points. Packer was up to third ahead of Dylan, who, with an AI car driving him, clearly would have struggled. Got RJ dropping back because of the issues he had. And yeah, you can see a lot of movers and shakers throughout the grid. Only the top two actually maintaining their positions in the standings. So that shows that, you know, it is quite random and very competitive as well. Yes, so moving on, next up we've got a race at Silverstone, which I believe is in, yes, I can confirm it is in the 2008 McLaren, as quite a few drivers have already moved into. Good on them. So yeah, let's get ready to go. This was the car in which Lewis Hamilton won a frantic British Grand Prix. A thriller that one was. And I've just realised I think it's got the points from the first race now displayed for these guys. So that's an odd one. Just quickly checking. Yep, everyone is in the cars. Good job, everyone. That was much quicker. So well done. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton won a rain-affected British Grand Prix in this car, and in dominant fashion. So of course, a lot of these picks are random, but some of them are based off of feats from drivers. One of which I won't reveal to you yet, is a particularly special one that's in the hearts of many of us. I'm just gonna leave that there, as yeah, we're just waiting to get ready. So obviously a more modern car at a track that's not quite as difficult, shall we say, as Baku. So maybe expect a higher quality race this time. Drivers may be a bit closer on pace, so we'll be able to get more fun, really, and hopefully some tighter competition. Because, like, you know, a bit of crashing is alright, but yeah, might hopefully have a cleaner time at this time round. So you can see there the famous shot of the Silverstone main straight. Yeah, I'm excited for this one. This could be one of the better races of the evening, hopefully. My fingers are crossed, certainly. And of course, the weather is dynamic, I do believe. So even though it's a clear day, I was just gonna say it's Britain, you could get rain, but clearly not the case there. So 2 rounds into this championship, still a long way to go, guys. Hopefully, I'll keep you updated on how my voice is feeling. It's already feeling a bit strained, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'll do my best, guys, to keep this going as good as I can throughout. So here we go. Just check. Yeah, it's 10-round championship. Just had to be sure, guys. I'm only a fifth of the way through this. I might not hold on. I've got a drink next to me in case it comes to that. But here we go now. Drivers lined up on the grid. 5 lights. And away we go as Mackin who gets the pole there. Nico was alongside him with a poor start there. Dylan moves straight up into P2. He's one that's up the front of the standing, so he's going to want to make the most of the race with Montana starting a bit further down. We've got a few cars off there in the background, and Nico has a go at Mackin. These two drivers were battling it out. You can see they've already got a lot of side-by-side racing. We're on board with Car Mentalist as he has a little look at Montana. He's already getting 2 cars off out of Village, and yeah, that's going to set them right back down the order. So Montana already up to 4th. He's got Car Mentalist all over the back of them. But it's Dylan who really needs to make the most of this. But look at Adventures Mackin. He's absolutely gone. Oh, I just say that. The sensitive McLaren 2008 car has slipped out from under him. Just as a lot of drivers did in the actual 2008 race. But side by side there, Montana gets on the inside of Karkinen. Karkinen does well though, holds it around the outside. Great run from Car Mentalist as well. He's going to attack the D1 Championship leader and gets through. So Montana not quite having it all his own way in this fight. And he's going to have to work his way through. As you can see, of course, a lot of these drivers just having to adapt to the conditions around them. As Karkinen now is going to set up after Dylan, who's been handed the lead of this race, as now Montana dives it down the inside, or has a little look at Car Mentalist. Car Mentalist covers the line quite nicely, but is out wide it still, but unable to get through as Montana. He's so late on the brakes, and he just taps the back of the McLaren in front. But looks like it's fine. Karkinen is struggling there, gets a bit of oversteer, and Car Mentalist has to avoid, goes off the track. Montana is going to make this get 2 and 1 here if he's close enough into turn 1, but not quite. Further back though, RJ was able to get through as Toxic down the inside as Mitsuki. Both cars running off the track as Montana gets up the outside of Car Mentalist, very similar to Charles Leclerc in the real British Grand Prix. And yet already we're having a lot of exciting racing. Can Montana chase down Dylan at the front? It's RJ now who's going to look at the back of Arok, who's made his way quietly up into 5th place. Here comes RJ though. It's a good dive going into Brooklands, but he can't quite make it work for now. But you can see he's really pressuring as Car Mentalist having a go at Montana here. He looks pretty impressive in these cars. He's really been taking the fight to Montana, and this is allowing Dylan to just waltz away at the front and gets championship back on track down the inside into Cops, but he's unable to follow it through. Montana keeps that 2nd place, but maybe he's got slight damage because he does seem to be struggling a little bit more. So RJ has also made his way past Arok, going through Cops as well. Couldn't quite catch this one, and yeah, the pack definitely closer together in this one. So it's a fun watch this. Smetsky now under pressure from Toxic. Toxic in the slipstream pulls to the inside towards Stone. They're wheel to wheel on the way in. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers now? Smetsky's trapped in on the outside. He's got nowhere to go, and Toxic manages to grab that 7th place. He does run a bit wide on the exit though, but there is no way of Smetsky to get back. A couple of penalties being dished out as well. But Montana seems to have gotten to grips with this now. He's starting to gap Car Mentalist, and he is catching Dylan as well. Yeah, this is going to be fascinating now. Is Montana, who's won these first 2 races, done a sterling job of working his way through the field, as Dylan has a bit of a lag spike, seemingly. He seemed to have glitched forward there. Yeah, so hopefully that's going to hold up as RJ continues his charge. In the background now, chasing down Karkinen. Karkinen's going to defend the inside line there, and now they're going to go to war. Around the outside goes RJ, late on the brakes. Brilliant move if he can make that one stick. He runs off track slightly, but he is able to get it done. Well done to RGW there for that move. As behind him though, Arok runs wide out of left field, and that's going to hand the place to Toxic, who continues to just ease his way up the field in fairly impressive fashion. And he uses a lot of that entry curve into Cops, and he's able to just get a little bit more momentum as a result. But you can see RJ now, he's going to be looking at Car Mentalist, who's starting to drop back a little bit from Montana, and Montana himself has really got the groove on, and he is reining in Dylan in the lead. But just over 2 laps to go, he's got a lot of work to do, and I reckon this could come down to the wire, you know. Montana definitely, he has about a second, I'd say about a second a lap pace advantage over Dylan, but we've got 2 laps to go. I say that though, that gap, actually no, it's the lag's a bit off-putting, I must say. Montana's now is coming a bit up as 2 seconds. Maybe he's made a mistake, but I doubt that's the case. As now, Toxic has now got up onto the back of Karkinen, and he's going to go for it into turn 1, and Karkinen just leaves him to his line, probably smart, as he skips himself over the grass on the outside of turn 1, picks himself up a penalty for his troubles. But he is able to make that move. As now we've got Arok, who's also looking on the back of Karkinen, who may have damage just based off of based off of his driving, because he is dropping back quite considerably. It's just looking down the field. We've got Packer, who got a hard-fought P2 in the last race. He sits in P10 at the moment. Mackin's out, so after leading early on, it looks so positive for him. It's now just gone downhill, and he's out of the race, and he's gonna have to really mount a comeback in the next few rounds. But anyway, Edok continues to plug away at Karkinen. Karkinen's holding on fairly well, must be said. But right now, Edok unable to get through, but the pressure is really on. Toxic picks up another penalty. You know, this is going to be hurting his chances of keeping ahead of these guys. And again, if they do battle, you never know. But Montana, he was 2 seconds behind at the start of the lap. At the end of the lap, the gap is down to 1 second. You couldn't write it. Here we go. Last lap. Montana. I was going to say he's about a second a lap quicker, and he's got about a lap to go with a second behind. It has the recipe for a grandstand finish. Can Dylan see this one through? Hopefully it's not decided by penalties. I'm not too familiar with the penalties, but we'll see what happens. Behind him though, a bit more urgent at the moment. Nico on the back of Packer, feints to the inside, but doesn't put Packer off. He's able to maintain that position and actually gain a bit of an advantage from that. And yeah, getting on the power nicely. But this battle for the lead, I reckon, could be decided in Stowe. Montana continuing to plug away. I shouldn't keep saying plug away. He's continuing to have down that gap, and it's about 7/10. And with a slipstream, with a good run through Maggots and Beckett's and a good slipstream down towards Stowe, he could be within touching distance. But it is going to be nip and tuck now. It's all going to come down to this there. Through Maggots and Beckett's now, so crucial for Dylan. He gets a strong exit coming off the corner. It's a good exit for both of them. Montana a few tenths quicker through the section, but he is still a long way back. Surely not into Stowe. It's going to have to be done into the Vale. So this is it now. All comes down to this, down to the run through Stowe, and it's Dylan who's able to hold ahead. I don't think, and Toxic's going to be disqualifying. Montana is just a bit too far back, so unless Dylan gets a poor exit off this final section, he is going to hold on to the win. What about the penalties? And it doesn't affect anything. In fact, it's Montana that loses out. And yeah, boy oh boy, we got a tense finale to the race, and RJ with penalties is able to grab that podium and reignite his challenge in the series. But that was a frantic race. Nico also gaining a few places on penalties, almost getting Eduk. But yeah, that was a fun one. A lot of good racing there. Jeroen also picking up a few places from Packer, who had a lot of penalties. Wow, he even drops behind Ebo, who was a fair way behind him. So Ebo picks up points, as we're just going to wait for Namsram. As Dylan's connections drop again, hopefully again we can just get him back in. Whoa, he goes well off it still, and now makes his way through the Vale to round off this race. But yeah, I'd say that was the best race of the three so far. A lot of good stuff there. But yeah, you can see Dylan. Hopefully we can get him back in, because he has got a bit of a fight in this series. So, got the drivers on the podium again. Dylan, who we hope can get back in, rounds off the British Grand Prix with a win, and a hard-fought win at that. Of course, having to overcome Mackin at the start, who was kind of played into his own demise by spinning off out of Luffield. And that handed him the lead, and he held off a charging Montana in the closing stages of the race. Well done to our podium finishers. RJ on the podium as well. So there we go. And again, seeing Montana in the chat, right behind him with no penalties. That is puzzling, I've got to say, because... And even your fastest lap is considerably slower. I don't know, that's just strange to me. But just quick check of the championship standings. Montana still leading, and he's still leading by 20 points, but over Dylan this time from Dan, who didn't score any points in this round. And it is looking like a bit of a two-horse race at the front, I'm not going to lie. But of course, it all can change. It can all come down to a good track, a good car, or a good grid position for the drivers. That's the beauty of this league. It is unpredictable indeed. So the next race, let me just check, it is at Germany in the 2006 Renault, driven by Fernando Alonso, his championship winning car. I think see these guys are getting better at it. Look how quickly they're able to get in. So yeah, well played everyone. Come on, car mentalist, you're an Ebo. Ebo's one of the organisers for this. I should have mentioned that this championship was organised by LoE Nico and Sir Ebo. So really great thanks to those two guys. They've put on a great event for us. Of course, it's not a huge event, you know, it's just something that these guys all do for fun. But so far, it's run smoothly. So props to those two guys for making this possible. So now we're just gonna get going. My voice is feeling slightly worse again. We're just under a third of the way through. Come on. Right. Quick drink there. Hopefully, hopefully I can hold on, guys. This is tough. This is tough stuff. Solo comms are tough as they are. I've only done one before on a race. I was shouting a bit more, I have to say, but this will probably run on for a fair bit longer. We've already been going for about 45 minutes, and we're nowhere near. We're nowhere near all the way through. So it's gonna be a bit of a slog, this, but yeah, I'm up for it. I'm up for this. Hopefully I can last through. But these guys in the Renault, another fairly modern car. It's still in the V8 era. I believe it was the first of the V8 cars. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Don't quote me on it, but I believe that's the case. I do remember from my Top Gear segment that the R25, the 2005 Renault, was in the last of the V10 powered F1 cars. So here we go once again at Germany. It's been the scene of some pretty thrilling races over the past 2 years, certainly. And yeah, we miss it on the F1 calendar, that's for sure, because wow, what a track. I don't know why, it always just seems to produce a good race, and no matter what. Like, even like the races of 2014, 2016, as of late, they were all solid, and there's been some classics way back in the days on the extended version of the circuit. So here we go again, another 5-lap thriller here in Hockenheim. The cars lined up on the grid. 5 lights once again. And we are away. It's Dylan who's actually grabbed the top position on the grid. That's going to be key with Montana down the field. And you can see great start from Dylan. Gets himself into the lead. It's Toxic who goes really deep. He picks up another penalty. He seems to be just picking him up like, man, he got disqualified in the last race. But he's going to go at the inside of Dylan. They're going to run side by side as well. Car Mentalist and Karkinen behind them. Onto the grass there goes Toxic now, and he's going to drop back. Dylan seizes the lead, and Montana picking up places in the background as well. We're keeping an eye on him as he heads up. That's a large pack of cars. They're all going to be drafting behind him as we go into the hairpin now. And who's going to come out? Well, Toxic trying to go running outside of Car Mentalist again. He runs off the track, and we've got yellows down there. That's not a surprise. I saw a car backwards there. That looks to be Slayer. As Toxic again, look at Car Mentalist behind him though. Karkinen jerking behind, as is Mitsuki, RJ and Adok heading up the pack behind. As Toxic side by side with Car Mentalist, he gets through as we go into the Mercedes section, and a lot of thrilling race start. RJ gets up the inside of Smitsky, and the Brummy gets through. I know he's going to get me mad at me for calling him that. As Car Mentalist side by side again with Toxic. This track just promotes great racing. I love it for that. As we exit onto the on the home straight for the first lap, and it is Dylan who heads up the field in front. As yet further back there, I'm just looking. Montana's actually dropped back, so Montana's had an issue, and this could be key because he was only 20 points ahead. As it stands, Dylan has the championship lead. As we've got Nico heading up this little group. The field's just in pockets of many drivers. It's RJ now and Karkinen. That's not the first time these two drivers have been up against each other, toe to toe, down towards the hairpin. Up ahead though, Toxic is again looking at Car Mentalist. These two have just been going back and forth as they break this glow. And yeah, it's Karkinen who runs deep, trying to hold off RJ, and RJ gets through, and now Zmetsky and Packer both have then followed through, so there's a mistake from Karkinen, and that costs him 3 places there in that sequence. Down the inside goes Packer, really late move, and he's able to stop it remarkably. Zmetsky though is able to shut the door, stay ahead. Carmentalist and Toxic still going at it, with Dylan controlling the race up front and looking good, it must be said, to take the championship lead. Of course, it all has to work out for him. He has to win to claim that lead, but it's going oh so well for him so far. Urun attacking Edok there. He gets through, and he's now right up onto the back of Karkinen, who again just struggling. Gets a good start and just seems to fall back through the field. That's been a recurring pattern for the Dutchman. He's up behind the American and the other Renault Urun as well. A lot of other drivers running wide, and Nico picks up a penalty. Edok is pulled off to the side, not sure why, need an explanation for that. As Packer round the outside of Smetsky, that's a great move, well done to him, but now Smetsky is going to try and come back at him. Slipstream me up as he pulls to the outside towards the hairpin. We saw RJ make a move from the outside as well on the last lap, but down the inside goes Packer. It's a good move, and he can just force his way through. But Smetsky's still alongside him though, going into the next few corners. It looks like he is going to hold on to that place. And you can see though, Smetsky still threatening there around the outside potentially. That's not quite going to come off, as behind him though, Nico forces out Montana. It's Montana though comes back at him, and it's Nico that actually runs wide. He's got Dan now next to him, as the Spaniard goes through the AstroTurf on the outside and drops back behind the D2 driver, who moves up into 10th in a points paying position, as Dylan's lost it. Dylan has thrown away his championship potential. Now Montana in the points, he drops behind RJ, who's again on for a consistent. He's just been so consistent throughout the races, getting into the top 5 in the podium, and he's doing just that once again. Now Packer has a look. Dylan is going to have less grip on his tyres. He's got nothing to fight with, and you can see he's desperate. He throws up the inside, and he's actually clean enough. Bit of contact, but it's all fair enough. And yeah, Dylan, now he's got the slipstream, as Carmentos now attacking Toxic for the lead. These two continuing to duel it out now for the lead, so the stakes are all that bit higher. Toxic though holds the inside into the hairpin. Is it going to be a good exit for Carmentos? It is indeed, and he's closing in. And you see battles galore going on behind, but I want to watch this. This is for the lead in 25 points. Carmentalist has a little feint to the inside, but doesn't quite get through. Dylan still holding off Packer, and Zmetsky swarming all over the back as well. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, and he at least wants to close in. And Montana, who's just making steady and consistent progress through the field, getting past Karkinen, and now chasing down Urun. Has a little look outside, doesn't quite get it done. Now into the Mercedes grandstand, has a look around the outside. No, that's not going to happen, but we're heading on to the final lap of the race now, and it all gets just that bit more tense, that bit more exciting. Up at the front, Carmentalist and Toxic. Toxic though, I'm pretty sure he's got several penalties in this race, so it looks like a Total Peas, who I think has just joined. Not too sure about that. He is losing out, but yeah, it's Carmentalist I think has the advantage with penalties, but he's going to want to get this done on track as it is. Here he comes now in the slipstream. RJ sitting behind comfortably in third place, eagerly anticipating a potential accident between these two. Really aggressive squeezing from Toxic, but well defended. Now Carmentalist, he was in this position in the last lap, but I suspect he's going to be just that bit more feisty this time round. Going down into the right-hander, tries to feint it. Actually, it's a left-hander, my apologies, as he hits the back of Toxic, and that's going to cost him. He's going to have to get this done on penalties. Side by side, Montana around the outside of Urun, late braking from the Swiss, and is he able to complete it? He's going to squeeze him out. He's had a lot of success in this part of the track, and through goes Montana, P7. Well done to him. As Dylan has recovered though, he looks like he's on to take P4 on track anyway. We'll see how the penalties shape it all, as Toxic rounds the final turn, and he takes the win on track. But the penalties, I believe, are gonna swing this in Carmentalist's favour, and he takes the win. And RJ though, RJ has just beats both of them out. Says thank you very much. Carmentalist had penalties as well, and RJ's taken that one. Toxic ends up in P4. Dylan ends up grabbing a solid P3. And look at how close that is after the penalties. So in the end, after it was looking like Dylan was going to chew into that championship lead from Montana, now that gap just isn't quite as big. as we were anticipating, with Montana recovering to 6th. So yeah, wow, what a race that was, with RJ taking it by just keeping it clean. You've got to try and avoid these penalties, even in these short races. Yet it's still very possible to be picking them up. So he probably gets himself, I believe he was P4 in the championship. And with that win, I reckon it's going to be, I think he's going to be put into the fray with the likes of Montana and the likes of Dylan. So all those 3 guys are going to bunch up. I mean, Montana was a good 40 points almost ahead of RJ, but he's brought himself into this. This is going to be exciting. So well done to our podium finishers there, as we're going to get the results. You can see there it is. RJ Carmentalist, who had 4 seconds of penalties. That is going to cost him dear. He was only 7/10ths off the win. Dylan gets P3. So well recovered from him after the spin, but he'll be ruining that mistake. He could have had a much larger haul of points, and you can see, wow, it is interesting up at the front. Dan's chances seem to have faded, and still the top 3 within a race win of each other. Montana still leads, but Dylan now only 13 points behind, and RJ is within striking distance as well. Carmentalist as well, only 31 points behind. And we've still got 6 races to go. Who knows? It could be just someone completely unexpected that's going to take it. So a race, we finally get to see this championship spice up a little bit. So yeah. Whew. This is going to be interesting. We've got the next race at Austria. Just a quick check. I believe it's the 2010 Red Bull car. But don't quote me on that until I get confirmation. Actually, with all these drivers changing into it, I think that's foolproof. And you can see, I think these are the points from the last 3 races out of the 4, and you can see Dylan, RJ, and Montana within 4 points of each other in those last few races. So they're very evenly matched. Toxic is readied up, but he's not chosen the car. So hopefully he's able to get himself into that. So please, Toxic, change into the Red Bull. If you're listening to the stream, there we go. Well done, man. So here we go. We can just get right into it. The drivers again doing a great job of just switching in. 16 drivers. It can be quite difficult to coordinate, but they're all following the cues of the 2 organisers, Nico and Ebo, and this event is running very smoothly. So yeah, fair play. Next up, Austria. It should be a bit of a shorter race with quick cars at a short lap. I don't know, this is a car that personally I've driven quite a bit in the classic cars, and it's going to be fun around this track with the high speed corners, because this car can carry some serious corner speed. They actually feel like more agile than the modern cars of the 2019 season. So that's my assessment on this car. So we're going to get into it. So now we've got quite a few different drivers to kind of look out for as championship contenders. So that's going to be fascinating. It's a new dynamic going into this race. We're going to have to pay attention to that. So Montana not having it all his own way anymore after winning those first 2 races. And now he's got everything coming back to him. So here we go now. The cars just about raring to go. I do like that we don't have the list straight away. So as soon as the lights go out, we get a reveal to us who is starting up front. We got 5 lights once again, and away we go. And you can see it's Montana and Dylan, the championship contenders, sharing the front row. They're going to go to war. Dylan gets a great start, jumps up into the lead before turn 1, and you can see a lot of battling going on behind. Toxic again is up there on the grid. Spinner in the background. That looks to be RJ's at the back. And yeah, it's Carmentalist has gone round, another guy that was up there in the standings. So yeah, that's not great for him. Montana feints to the inside into the hairpin. He's not going to go all out right away. As down the inside goes Total Peas. That's a great move on Roar Panda. Feisty, but still gets it done. As in the background, we've got a Spinner. That is Roar Panda. And more contact down below. That's Slayer and Dan. Another blow for Dan after 2 great races to start things off. So not great for them. We're already getting a few incidents throughout the field, but up at the front things are tight. Montana under pressure from Toxic actually, who's lost out on results due to just getting off-track excursions. So hopefully he's able to keep himself going this time. We've got yellows. That looks to be your own. He's gone off in turn 7. So yeah, you can see trying to navigate the car through the grass. That's going to be, well, a bit of a sucker punch to his hopes there. But RJ, it's going to be fascinating to see his progress. But Montana having to defend from Toxic into turn 1. And see these top guys very evenly matched on pace. It's Montana is actually on the ropes a little bit, and it's great progress from Dylan to get that gap out to 7/10 already. Is Toxic going to send one there? Packer's right there as well in P4, and it's a little look at the inside from Toxic. Parks it on the apex though, and now that's put Packer within touching distance. This is going to get interesting now. Packer in the slipstream, down into turn 3. Turn 4, pulls to the outside. Toxic gives in this squeeze on entry, and it's well defended. I just love these brake lights glowing. I think that's absolutely fantastic graphical detail, as Karkinen just fending off Abo there going into turn 4 as well. But just look at this, it's quite a sight to see all these little Red Bulls, their narrow profile, just running their way through these corners. Fantastic to see. But Dylan seems to have dropped off a little bit. Montana, this seems to be the case with Montana. He struggles a little bit initially, then once he gets to grips with the car, gets to grips with this Red Bull in this case, you can see he's got the pace, and now he feints to the inside. He's got Dylan under pressure. Dylan has got to keep a cool head here if he wants to keep reigning in that championship lead. So this is crucial now as Montana chases him up towards the hairpin. Is he going to look at the inside? Has a slight feint once again, but he's biding his time here, making sure he gets it. As Montana, it's actually had a poor run through the hairpin. Yellows in sector 3. Looks to be Roar Panda is having a really tough time of it in the background, but it was a mistake from Montana. He's dropped back and he's going to have to move up again as further back. RJ, who of course had a pretty unlucky grid position compared to a lot of his rivals, he's got to work his way back into this and get himself into the fight. So here he goes now. It's going to be keen to see. He can maybe work his way up to Mackin. I think that's his goal. P6 would be a solid finisher for him, given the circumstances. So we're going to keep on board with him, see what he can do. RJ through the last 2 corners, chasing down Smitsky, who's actually shown some pretty decent pace in these cars. As out wide was Mackin there. He actually sits the fastest lap of the race, so good on him. But RJ, now, this is it. I just saw a car moving down. Didn't seem like much happened there. But Montana chasing Dylan once again up to the hairpin. Is he going to go a bit more committed this time? And no, he sits back. And again, Dylan just so strong around that hairpin. In fact, Montana so weak through that hairpin, very surprisingly. And Toxic now, he's up behind him. Mackin has gone his way past Peace. Peace seems to have made a mistake. Toxic has a look up the inside, doesn't go for it. It's a much more measured race from these guys now, as Montana gets a bit out of shape, but he holds his nerve. As P's now dropping back your runes out of the race as well, as P's now under pressure from Ebo. Is Ebo going to send it up the inside? No, he almost runs into it, but is able to keep it clean. So now heading on to the final lap of the race almost. RJ doesn't seem to quite have the pace to really put Smitsky under some pressure. He's got to try and find something extra if he wants that P6. Certainly Mackin seems too far up the road. He looks content with P5. But I did see him, I believe he did pick up a penalty. But this is it now, Montana versus Dylan. These two championship rivals. Montana's going to go for it, leg the stamp and send it up the inside of the turn 1. That's a good move. But this is where Dylan has been stronger. And look at Toxic now. He might try and make it 3-way going into the hairpin. It's Montana still in front. Dylan to the outside. Toxic to the inside. They got a lap car ahead. Oh, and he just about managed to get round it. It's Toxic has made his way past Dylan and all of that. And now Montana with his weaker traction coming out of the hairpin. But here comes Dylan once again with a run on the outside. They're going to go 3 wide almost. Dylan has to back off this time. And Toxic can't quite find his way around. Montana grabs a crucial lead. But he's got a penalty. I don't know how he's got that for ignoring a yellow flag. That seems a bit unfair, but I guess with those stewards' inquiries, it's going to be tough for him to get that removed. I don't think Toxic or Dylan's got a penalty. And Packer is still with these guys. RJ hasn't quite got to Smitsky, so it looks like Smitsky's going to hold on to that 5th place, but this is going to get intriguing now as Dylan goes for a late move, do or die move on Toxic. He ghosts a little bit. Now through the final corner, he's going to have a run. Montana crosses the line, but he's got that penalty. Where does that put him? Toxic still doesn't make it though. Oh, it's Packer that ends up gaining P3 out of that. Man, Montana holds on, and Mackin again sets the fastest lap, well driven from him. Smetske holds off RJ, then from Karkinen, Carmentalist, and Toto Pays, as Dan Ibo rounds it off. Oh, my voice is starting to go, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, we're only halfway through this. Oh god. I don't know how I'm gonna manage this, guys. And yeah, Dylan, I did notice that actually a few times. Dylan definitely did have some lag issues throughout that race. It kind of put a bit of a stain. We could have had, I mean, we did get an exciting conclusion to the race, but I think it could have been just that little bit better and more exciting. But as Montana takes his third win of the championship from, I believe it was Dylan in P2, Packer in P3, if I'm not mistaken. Or I could have that the wrong way round. Actually, no, it might have been Toxic in P2, I believe. I just need to round this up. I'm a bit confused. Yeah, it was Toxic in P2. Dylan. So Montana got given a 3-second penalty, I swear, unless I'm blind, but he's not been actually given it, which is very strange. Dylan losing out with that 2-second penalty, he's going to be absolutely gutted. But looking at the standings now, Montana stretches back out and gets that 26-point lead ahead of Dylan. RJ drops back as well with only P6 in that race. And he's still got Packer, Carmentalist, those guys chasing him down. Montana, that's a big step for him. He moves forward in his championship race. But still a long way to go. And the next one is just going to quickly check before they actually reach out. I want to beat them to it. Oh no, that's not going to happen, isn't it? Because I've got to scroll up. So it is Spain in the 1982 McLaren. I don't have much knowledge on this car, I'm afraid, so can't share that too much with you. I'm trying to think who won the 1982. That was Keke Rosberg, yeah. So yeah, anyway, yeah, this is a car from arguably the most competitive season of F1 in history, I believe. 11 winners in 16 races that season. So everyone's got in. Great job from everyone once again. So yeah, Montana taking that win is kind of just taking another step towards it then. A 26-point lead means he's out of range from the other guys. Even if Dylan were to win, and if he were to not score any points, would make things much more exciting, I must say. But he would still maintain that lead. So we're jumping into Catalonia. This one's going to be fun. Another slightly older track. I think it's been around for about 20 odd years in F1. And a track that's kind of got a bit of everything. That's what I like to say. It's got slow corners in the third sector. It's got fast sweeping corners in the first and middle sector, and it's got that long back straight. It really I always use it to test the performance of cars because it's just got that bit of everything. It's a great benchmark. It was a great track to benchmark cars, I'd say, on any racing game. So if you're looking to do that, there's just a little Top Gear top tip for you. Not that anyone's interested in the slightest in that, but here we go once again. Catalonia, and as we move into the second half of this championship, we're probably going to be going on for another hour or so. So yeah, good fun. Oh god, my voice is even worse now. I can still commentate at a decent level, guys, so don't you worry, I'll do my level best. But you can see that fit. Look at that. I love this era of Formula 1 cars. The looks are stunning. We're away, and it's Toxic who gets the grid position from Smetske and Montana. Montana will be happy with that as Dylan's further down the field. Here we go now. Going into turn 1 there. And Montana tries to create some space for himself. Going down the middle. And Toxic, though, round the outside. Into turn 1, holds the lead. Off the track was Carmentalist there. He's going to rejoin, going through over the bumps. A couple of other cars off as well as we round it. These cars are going to be maybe a bit more squirrely than the last few. We could see a bit more of a chaotic race. These older cars will be tough to handle. We move into the end of the first sector. Montana now in front of Toxic, and he's looking to grab another win. He's had quite a lot of favourable grid positions, it must be said, but he's made the most out of them. It also must be said. Smitsky onto the podium. He's got Car Mentalist shaping up a move behind him. A lot of battling going on. Two cars spinning off. These look to be Nico and Raw Panda. They've both lost out. Wow, RJ slots himself through the middle. That was pretty cool, RJ. I got to give you that. That did look pretty nice. But anyway, in the battle for the podium, these cars are so wide, must be pretty difficult to find overtakes. But Car Mentalist doesn't care. He's up the inside of Smitsky, gives him enough space on the exit. Smitsky can't quite hold it out, as Nico is out of the race, his home race, in fact, so he won't be happy at all with that. But Montana, I feel like this is going to be another race like Baku in Spain, where he's just going to get himself up there and just get to grips with the car. It seems like the older cars, he seems to just be much more, just seems to have be much more inept in it. Inept? That's a terrible word. It just seems to have a much better grip of them compared to the other guys. But moving down the field though, still got battles going on. There's Euron chasing down Dan, and he's got Adventures Mackin behind them both. And they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. I've got a terrible camera angle, I do apologise for this. Euron gets it though, ahead of Dan, who's really struggled for pace after 2 strong openings, 2 strong rounds in the opening of the championship, I should say. Mackin though looking and just trying to chase behind. Slayer's there as well, so there's a good train here for P6 in the race. Panda's got a penalty. Yellow's in sector 1. That seems to be Raw Panda, who maybe went off at turn 1, picked up that penalty, as well as spinning as Dan's gone off. So there's a mistake from Dan. He finds himself off the track. RJ's looking to pick up a few places out of this, as well as Ebo. So Ebo moves up into P8 just behind Slayer. And Jeroen's been given a good advantage there. He's chasing down Dylan, who's made decent work at the start, must be said, to get himself up into P5. But with Montana in P1, it is looking a bit grim for Dylan, it must be said. Car Mentalist trying to chase down Toxic up ahead of him. Man, guys, I'm not sure how long I could do this for. My voice is not feeling great. It's total pace. Ebo's been forced off the track, or he's run wide. I'm not sure what's happened, but RJ's making solid progress on his way through the field. And Karkin now up behind Slayer, who's going pretty slowly. Maybe got damage. Here we go now, through the final sector of the lap. Tucked up behind him. And now they open out onto the straight. Karkin runs into the back of Slayer, who was pretty slow comparatively off that final corner. So now onto the main straight. Is it going to get a run? Good slipstreaming these cars. Behind them we've got Ebo losing out to Dan. Dan slips through, and looks like Ebo's actually slowing down. I'm not sure what's happened there. Head to turn 1. And yeah, Karkin just sitting behind Slayer. Slayer doesn't seem to be as quick. He's getting a couple of slides on, must be said. And you can see Toxic and Carmental still running in P2 and 3 respectively. Those two have been going at it this entire time, it seems. They've been right up front and making the most out of things. And yeah, just dueling with each other. But Toxic's got the upper hand in this one, holding down that P2, but just doesn't quite have that pace of Montana, who cruises his way up at the front. Karkinen chasing Slayer still. These two are the closest cars on track, as Toxic's made a mistake. Toxic's off, and that's going to give Carmental's position. Dylan moves up to P3 behind Smitsky, and behind him Toxic still struggling to really grab that car. So he's had to go the long way around. He loses out to RJ, and Slayer's also off. 2 cars off, and they're spinning out everywhere. This Pease has gone off as well. This is going to dramatically change the context of this race. Now Toxic, who was running in a solid P2, I just said he had that advantage in that race for P2, none anymore, as now he's got RJ hassling the back of him now. As we're actually about to head on to, actually no, we just started the 4th lap. I thought we were heading on to the final lap there, through the final chicane. And on the exit there, Karkinen sitting up behind them now, looking to take advantage. But no, he runs off into the gravel, and he's going to rejoin. Does he keep it straight? Whoa, amazing reflexes from, I think that's War Panda, who's a lap down. Well done to him. And now they move their way through. RJ has a little look to the inside, can't quite get through. So he's going to have to sit tight, try and get a good run through turns 2 and 3. Looking for the move. Is he going to get it done? No, it doesn't look like it. He's got to have a tremendous run through there, and it doesn't quite work out for him. Dylan, though, is looking pretty good. You know, he did have a pretty unlucky grid position starting down the field, but he's, like Montana in Germany, he's kind of just made the most of it. Montana leading comfortably It doesn't bode well for his championship chances. He already took a blow in the last race after it was looking like he could hold that gap back down. And not quite worked out for him. Smetsky has made a mistake coming out of turn 9, and he drops back Dylan. So Dylan up into P3 now. And if Carmentalist makes a mistake, then it could be look all the better for him. But Carmentalist might be able to grab P3 overall in the standings if he keeps it together. So yeah, we've got quite a few cars out this race actually. We've only got 11 cars still running. So it has been a bit of a messier race, and now the gaps have begun to appear. But Montana, it seems like this is just a constant crazy races in Montana, just controlling things at the front. You can see he's confident as well, using every millimetre of the road. It's been a real driving exhibition from the Swiss again. So he looks like he's going to take this one. He's been seconds a lap quicker. You know, it's difficult to compete with that. Like, you know, there's quick drivers in LoE that can, you know, challenge Montana, but no offense to the guys racing there, but none of them are really here. You know, none of the top guys are here besides him, and he's really showing his class so far in this championship. Toxic still just fending off that challenge of RJ. RJ's just had some bad luck in these last few races after the win at Germany. He gets the back end kicked out as well. He's trying to find some pace, but it's just not quite working out. He's got Karkinen there, followed by Dan Packer and Ibo. They're the only cars still running at the moment, but Montana now into the last sector. I think we can just enjoy this now. You know, he has just been untouched in this race. Got the lead early on in the first sector of the race, and it's just been plain sailing for him. And here he goes now. Just got a couple more corners to negotiate. Makes his way through the final chicane, nice and clean. Bit of oversteer there, maybe putting on a show. Kicks the rear end out, around the final corner. Montana takes yet another win. I believe that's his 4th win in 6. So yeah, what a performance from him. As Carmentalist is going to go through in a solid P2. Dylan coming home in P3. He's going to take a blow in his championship chances though. Smitsky gets a solid result in P4 from Jeroen, and RJ's actually managed to get Toxic right at the death. He gets P6. Karkinen maybe run out of fuel potentially, because he's absolutely rolling to the line. Here comes Packer. No, he's not quite going to make it. He gets P9. Ibo P10. And Dan unable to quite get it through. Is Ibo run out of fuel though? I'm not sure what's going on there, but both these guys are actually going very slowly. Maybe Dan... Okay, this is a very confusing scenario. Ibo, is he trying to let him through? I don't know what's happening. Dan pushes him over the line. A bizarre finale in that race for P10. But yeah, another incident-packed race. Montana saying he loves the older cars. I can tell Montana. You seem to be much more comfortable in them compared to everyone else. But Carmentalist takes that spot on the podium. But really, you know, there's no way back almost for these guys now. 4 races to go, and Dylan, who gets another podium, he's done a really good job, Dylan. Given I don't know much about him, and he's showing that he is very clued up on how to handle these classic cars. But ultimately, is Montana proving just that bit too much? Another win for him. And even though the championship was looking a bit spicy earlier on, it is just starting to spread out a little bit again at the front. You can see not that many penalties from the top guys, so they were able to keep it clean in terms of the track limits, but that was a bit of a messy race for some. Here's the standings now. Carmentalist moving up behind RJ. That's going to be another battle to look out for. But Montana now 36 points ahead. Whoa, it's going to take some serious luck for Dylan now. You know, I hate to say it, but luck is going to have to come into it if he wants this, because Montana is cruising away now. The gap was down to 14 points at one point. It looked exciting, but it has just opened up that little bit now. So 4 races to go. We're not quite in the end game yet, but it is we are approaching it. Yeah, we are just moving forward in the championship race. Next up, oh boy. We have got the 2009 Braun GP car. Of course, the car that was involved in one of the greatest stories in F1. When Ross Braun purchased the Honda team for just £1. with a few weeks before the season started, and nevertheless ended up winning the championship comfortably from Red Bull. But more importantly, this is at Monaco. Oh boy. This is going to be fun, isn't it? I mean, if you thought Baku was crazy, this race is just going to be on a whole other level. So I hope you're strapped in and ready, because this is going to get absolutely chaotic. And I reckon the driver that leads through turn 1 is probably going to win the race unless they bottle it, which I admit is a decent possibility, being Monaco. But there's going to be so many incidents that the driver that gets to the front early probably wouldn't have to push that hard. Quick drink. Right. So here we go now. This is going to be the fun one. Round 7 of this championship. I'm looking forward to it. It's just gonna be a mess, isn't it? Like, it just is. Here we go. Monaco. Is it at night? I can't really tell from this angle in the pit lane, but it might be at night time. I can see the lights are on. So whoever gets on pole is gonna have a huge advantage, and incidents could be. I mean, I could be completely wrong here. You know, these guys could be nice and clean, you know, going through, and obviously everyone makes an effort to be as clean as they can. But in a car that they're not familiar with, at a track that is terrifying even for the very best, I can see this one going badly. I'm not gonna lie. But strap yourselves in. Here we go. It's Monaco. Get ready, as we're in the last few seconds before taking off. Here we go. Brawn GP cars lined up on the grid. Here we go. It gets another good grip position. He's out front and he's going to try and lead it as Dylan makes him dive. Goes Dylan into P1. There's a lot of lag going on with Dylan, it must be said. Now chasing him. He's actually ghosting inside of Toxic. I don't know what's happening here. There's clearly been some desync, but actually a decent start from these guys. It's spread out a bit, but they seem to have kept it relatively clean to my surprise. It's Montana now. Down the inside he goes on Nico. And that was quite some move. See, they're all stacking up here. Watch it. It's the classic bunch up at the hairpin. And yeah, one of the greatest spectacles in racing. All these guys trying to shut the door on one another. RJ makes his way past. I wasn't quite aware of that, but he does seem to be going. Yeah, he did actually lag out. And he's going to rejoin in a pretty difficult position with Montana now going around the outside. Is he going to get War Panda as well? Doesn't quite get it into to back, but gets it on the exit there as War Panda runs wide. And that's a ballsy move from Montana. Panda's still trying to stick it in there, and he puts Montana in the wall. Not sure what's going on there. Now Nico's tried it up on the outside. They all bunch up into Razkas, and that's it. Montana's been tapped into the wall. Now Total Peas is getting involved. He hits the wall on the inside of Anthony Noakes, and it's all mental. Look at this. And it's Total Peas gets spun around. Does about a 1080 on the main straight. And the main absolutely boils. I told you this race would be absolutely frantic, and it is proving to be that as Nico squeezes his way past Mack, and these guys not lying down from a good fight, and that's what we want to see. Just some great fast action as we see these cars nibbling their way around the track. Oh, there's been another incident. Mackin goes upside down and he's been taken out into the escape room. What is happening here? This is a complete mess. It was all nice and civilized off the start. Now Total Peas gets on the inside of Mitsuki as Nico's been given a penalty. What is happening here? I told you, Toxic had pole position, got the lead early on, and now look at him just waltzing away at the front. Yeah, as Montana actually picks up a penalty, but he's got a good gap behind him already. So I think these top guys are relatively safe. But my word, whoa, what on earth happened there? We've got Total Peas again having trouble going through the Novell chicane, and hits the wall there. He's down into last place. As we've still got battling going on. Dan up behind Roar Panda, who's holding up a bit of a train behind him now. Here comes Dan. What's he going to be able to do? Into Sandavont. Round the outside potentially. No, he backs out of it. As gets hit in the back a little bit by Dylan, who's going to be eager to recover, or we'll see his championship hopes slip away from him. Dan gets forced into the wall by the looks of things. Dylan says, thank you very much. I will take that P5 from you there, mate. But Dan is having none of it. Back up the inside towards Mirabeau. Spinning in the background there. That is Carmentalist. He's had a mistake, and that's going to set him back plenty. As Dan gets very close, had it all locked up and everything behind Dylan. I can see he's really oversteering that car, trying to get the most out of it. As further back, we've got another train behind Smitsky. What is happening here? Nico almost sends it. He's now got Mackin, who is just went upside down through Mirabeau. He's now back in this fight. Goes up the inside of Nico through the tunnel, and is he going to get it? Nico's as well could be swallowed up. He's got Packer on his outside there. Could it be a move from Packer? They've come together, and Nico tries to force his way through. More contact between them on the run down towards the back. They're going to go side by side through the corner, and Packer ends up on the wall, and that was inevitable, trying to go around the outside of there, it must be said. As Panda just valiantly holding this P4. He's done a great job of it. And is that Dylan putting Dan in the wall? No, sorry, it was Panda putting Dylan in the wall, I believe. Don't know what happened there. But Panda being very aggressive in this defence. He's had quite a few jerky moves, and I must say I'm not the biggest fan of it. But side by side now, Dylan and Dan. Dylan trying to go round the outside of Massenet. Can he pull this one off there? On the inside, Dan gets a lot of good momentum. Now Carmentalist, who's just made a mistake on the last lap, he now comes back at things. Round the outside of Dylan. Now he's got the inside into the Lowe's hairpin. And can he make this one stick? He doesn't put him in the wall. Fair play to Carmentalist. But they're still going to go side by side. And up the inside goes Dan. He finally sticks it to Raw Panda. And Panda's had that coming, I think. Really feisty move. And there's more carnage in the tunnel. Dan, who's just made a feisty move on Panda. Now Panda comes together with him. Pushes him into the wall. That looked deliberate. I'm not going to lie. I think Panda's just taking this a step too far now. We're meant to be having fun here. And he's just, yeah, that's not great to see, has to be said. But up at the front, Toxic has started the final lap. He's got Montana just charging him down. Actually, with Montana's penalty, RJ could be having a shout of P2 here if he finds just a couple of tenths on this last lap. And he does seem to be pretty quick as well. Nico has made a mistake going into Razcasting. You can see having these cars. Thank God for the ghosting system. My word, that could have been another monumental incident as Mackin gets himself up the inside of Zmitsky. The carnage just keeps on delivering, man. These guys are trying to just they're trying to make me lose my voice, aren't they? That's what they're doing, just by having like all this madness. Zmitsky's caught Mackin back. It's because Mackin has made a mistake and he's dropped back out of the points. It's not great to see for him. He's been quite mistake prone during this night, has to be said. I keep on saying has to be said. No idea why, but it has to be said. I'm so sorry, guys. Edok now, who's just somehow in the points. I think he was right at the back before, but he's just worked his way up by keeping things clean enough. But we're going to look up at the front. It's actually Montana who's chased down Toxic, but it is Toxic who wins it from Montana, and RJ will get P3 on the road. Actually, no, Montana got another penalty, so RJ gets P2 in the end, as Montana drops back with the penalties. Carmentalist, P4, Dylan, P5, and Roar Panda. No, that is blatant. I'm sorry, Roar Panda, what are you doing? I know this is a fun championship, and I know it's not too serious, but that is to deliberately take out drivers. My word, what is he doing? I hate to be so I hate to be so harsh on him, but what are you doing? He's just taking out drivers on purpose. Yes, he did get put in the wall by Dan, but he was making, really harsh defensive moves. Weaving around the track, brake checking people, putting people in the wall if they even dare try it. I think he had that coming to him. And then just blatantly taking out drivers. Whew. Yeah, that's my opinion. Pretty strong, I know. Pretty harsh, but I think it's deserved, honestly. I can't believe that. What are you doing, pal? Anyway, that rounds off an absolutely ridiculous race, and yet hopefully I've seen a lot of guys in the chat, both the LoE chat uh, and and in the stream chat are pointing that out. Oh, Jesus. So anyway, it is Toxic who takes advantage of a good grid position to win it from RJ and Montana. RJ probably ends up extending his advantage over Carmentalist. Who knows, he might actually be chasing down Dylan, who had a tough time of things in this race. So, let's get the results. Holy moly. I told you guys it would be chaotic, and it certainly was. Look at all those penalties. RJ, the only driver to avoid one. And yeah, that is going to be it. So, just going to take a little look at the standings. And yeah, Montana stretches it out even further. RJ, though, and Carmentalist both making good gains on Dylan. Dylan, now, with two drivers within a race win of him, he may have to be looking over his shoulder rather than at Montana with only 3 rounds to go. Montana outscores Dylan by actually can't if he outscores him by 9 points in this next round, he can take it if it is actually round 7 that we've just been through. Let me just take a quick check. Yep, here we go. My chat's blowing up right now. Hold on. Yeah, so we've got actually no, we've got 3 rounds left: Brazil, Italy, and Canada. And there is a chance for Montana to wrap it up now. I believe only, apart from Dylan, only RJ and Carmentalist can catch Montana at this stage with 3 rounds to go. And both those guys, the latter two, have to gain points on Montana if they want to stay in it. But Dylan is under pressure as well. He is on the ropes a little bit. So yeah, let's see what happens now. So we're just waiting to get things kicked off for the race at Brazil in the 1991 McLaren. This was the car that was driven by Ayrton Senna, I believe, to win the 3rd of his World Championship titles, if I'm not mistaken. This was the kind of the end of a dominant run from McLaren. After that, it was Williams that kind of took over as the dominant car in the sport. Modern F1 fans that don't know much about history will be absolutely baffled. Williams winning races? Nonsense. But yeah, they're actually one of the most successful teams in the entire sport. So yeah, that is quite surprising now that we look at things. So we're getting ready now. I'm just gonna check. Is Panda still here? Because yes, he is. Unfortunately, I say unfortunately. I'm being quite harsh on him, but his driving standards in that race were unacceptable, even for a casual championship. You just can't be doing that. You can't be driving in that manner with pretty respectful drivers. Yeah. And I'm seeing plenty of guys in my stream chat saying to kick him. I unfortunately have no control over that. I'm not sure if he can even be kicked unless I think Ibos might be able to do it. I'm not too familiar with the lobby settings if they're able to. I believe that's it. Yes, he's gone. Okay, there we go. So that's a good thing. We can actually have a bit more of a proper race, because even though it was pretty spectacular to watch that last race, unfortunately, it wasn't great to see. You know, even for a league of the caliber of LoE, to have drivers taking others out on purpose. Not acceptable. So he quite rightfully has been kicked. So here we go then. We're just waiting for a couple of drivers to ready up. We've actually got quite a few guys leaving. I think all the non-LoE people have been kicked, just so we can have some better driving standards today. In Brazil, a classic circuit, one of the most iconic on the entire Formula One calendar, has produced some of the most memorable races in recent history, particularly 2003, 2008. And 2012, all being some of the greatest races we've ever seen. And it's raining. You know, all the greatest races at Brazil are wet. I have noticed. Those 3 races I mentioned had at least some moisture during it. So, wow, wowie, we're gonna have some fun today. So we have got a rainy Interlagos, and hopefully a lot of good racing now, with a grid that's going to have a bit more quality in it rather than quantity. So we should see some cleaner driving, probably see a few more incidents just because these guys will struggle to get to grips with these cars. But I think the random grid will have less of an impact this time. It's just going to come down to who can brave the conditions the best. So here we go then. Lined up on the grid, a grid of beautiful 91 McLarens ready to go. And we're away. Dylan gets the top position on the grid with Montana a bit further back. So that's going to be interesting. Cars spinning already at the start. The traction just isn't quite there for him. Dylan, though, has managed to get through that A-okay. And he's got Toxic and Packer right behind him with pace. So already we've got cars spinning. One of them is RJ, which is crucial in terms of the that championship fight for P3. And more cars spinning through turn 3. It's like it's like the 2003 race into the wall. But I think that's Car Mentalist. And no, Car Mentalist has gained out for that. So already just got drivers struggling for grip out there. And this is going to be a real test for Dylan. If he wants any hope of winning this championship, he's got to brave things out. I think Car Mentalist may be opting for the more measured approach, just from what I'm seeing from him already. Just trying to keep it clean, which has worked out for him so far since he's in a solid P4. But yeah, see these guys struggling. Look how slowly they're going. Just trying to nurse these cars around the track. Mackin's got a bit braver than Toxic. He looks to the outside then. Toxic's able to shut the door and keep that place. Of course, he started up front on pole position. Again, he seems to be getting really good fortune with the grid positions. Some drivers seem to have definitely been favoured overall, I'd say, from them. We've got yellows in Sector 1 and 2. I think that Nico's, I don't know what's happened. The front wheels of his car are lifting off the ground. So that, is anyone else seeing that? I'm pretty sure that he's only got his rear wheels planted. That's not good for him. Oh my, okay, he seems to have got going there. Oh, he's retired. He just probably cooked his tyres and was unable to get going again. Total P's is out as well. So we've only got 11 cars still running. But Dylan, he gets a bit of oversteer actually. I thought he was going into the wall there, but there was a bit of lag. He runs off though at turn 3, spears across the track, and this is going to get interesting now. Packer and Montana now, all over him. Oh boy, get ready for a three-way scrap for the lead of this race. Dylan, Packer, Montana now within a second of each other in total, and Car Mentalist behind them. And you can see Dan is making positions because Toxic has had another spin. The space starting on pole has not worked out for him, and he's gone out as well. Smetsky's in the wall. Is Ebo going to be able to avoid it? Ebo's opting for the camera approach himself, and I think that's working out okay for him. These top 3 though, as well as Car Mentalist actually, to be fair to him, they seem to be coping the best with these conditions, and these 3, especially at the front, putting on a real driving exhibition for us and providing us with the battling amongst all the spinning and drivers struggling to put the power down in these treacherous conditions. And we're getting a really crazy race in store for us, but here we go now, exiting onto the main straight. His Packer is just a bit more cautious than the other 2, I feel. But he does seem to have pretty good straight line speed. But here he goes. Montana, though, gets a bit loose on the outside. He's trying to find the grip. Sliding again, Montana. Amazing car control. He went onto the grass there. But still, keeps it going straight line onto lap 3 now. Is he going to go for the move? Packer knows he's there. Defends into turn 1. That's going to give him a bit less grip on the inside. Montana's trying to take advantage of that. Side by side through turn 2. And it's going to be all about the traction through turn 3. Packer takes a risk and goes quite aggressive. You can see him trying to slide out the car, and he gets a bit of oversteer. Here comes Montana now, side by side, down into turn 4. Montana gets himself ahead, and he moves up into that second place. Can he chase down Dylan up at the front? Oh boy, I can't wait to see the outcome of that. RJ continuing to try and work his way through the field. Car Mentalist though is going to pull some points back on him, and I don't think either of these guys are going to be in the hunt anymore. It looks like they're going to be out of the championship fight, but they're going to have their own battle for P3, which will be a real show in itself. So who's had an incident? That is Mackin. Mackin's out of the race. He's probably had the most spins out of everyone this race, or this championship. And yeah, only got 9 cars still running. But now Montana versus Dylan. These two guys have been going at each other the entire night, and they're going to treat us to another spectacle there. Dylan compromises his line into Jun Shao there, the final corner. And now look at them get onto the traction. Just look at this on board with Montana. Him grappling for grip. Whoa, he's almost lost it there. And that's a mistake from the championship leader. And now, here comes Packer now. Oh, the inside. Going onto the main straight. And he gets it through. So Packer up into P2. Now Montana is going to have to strike back if he wants this. He's still these three, proving to be the absolute class of the field here. Just so acclimatized to these conditions and putting on a great show. Packer though gets a bit out of shape out of turn 2. And now it's going to put Montana up onto the back of him. Sliding out. Oh, what a save from Packer. He almost created an almighty accident there. But well played to him for avoiding the contact there. And Montana now late on the brakes. The brake disc glowing on all 3 cars. They're pushing them to the absolute limit as they climb up the hill towards Ferradura. It's Packer is a bit off in the background there. Montana looks to the outside into Ferradura. He's got some great entry speed round the outside, but it looks like Dylan's still got that advantage on the inside. Switchback from Montana, bit of drifting, and now later on the brakes up the inside. He wants to wrap up this championship now and then, but it's Dylan who holds it, going into the left-hander. My word, I can't believe these 3 guys, just such high quality driving from all 3 of them. Now down the inside again, Montana, he might just have done it this time. No, Dylan, really good traction on the outside, side by side through turn 14. Can Montana hold it? Yes, he can. Great driving from Montana, getting 2 positions in 1 lap. But now this traction zone has been a bit tricky for him. Dylan now, can he strike back? Montana's out wide, trying to find the grip, and as he just about found it, Dylan's a bit sideways again. Montana may have stolen the march here. He leads going on to the final lap of the race. Mackin is left. Hopefully he can get back in. I don't know if that's a rage quit or a disconnection. Knowing him, probably the first one. My apologies, Mackin. And now has got yellows in sector 3. It's Packer though that's putting the pressure on Dylan. If Packer makes this move, I believe that's going to give Montana this championship with 2 rounds to go. Because then he'll have that 50-point lead that he needs. But as it stands, looks like Dylan's just going to keep himself in it with the P2, but only by a thread. And it seems like he'll probably take it at some point. Out wide though, Dylan. Dylan's made a mistake, and that's going to put Packer through into P2. Dylan almost wipes him out as he rejoins the track. But that is crucial. Packer through P2. Dylan, if he wants to stay in this, he's going to have to fight back, and fight back he will. Round the outside of turn 8. No, doesn't quite work out. He can't quite follow it through, but he is going to keep pushing. He's not going to stop until the checkered flag drops. Montana seems to be clear. He's going to win this race unless he bottles it. So it's down to the fight for P2. Dylan, though, with just over a lap to go, he had that advantage, he had that lead, and now he's dropped back. So he's going to have to find something. He's going to have to rely on a mistake from Packer. Final significant corner. No, it's just a long, hard slog. The long traction zone up to the line. Montana, though, he has just worked his way through. He's had some difficulties with this one, but he is going to wrap it up. And I believe, if the penalties do not affect anything, Montana crosses the line. Packer is going to take P2 on track. Dylan almost gets through. He might have run out of fuel at the end. Packer did. But that looks to be it. If assuming my calculations are correct, Montana now 51 points ahead, and that will give him the championship. Well played to Montana. He's just been the absolute standout, as you'd expect, really, going into this. But wowee, that was a great race. You know, those 3 guys put on a driving masterclass. Well done to them. And yeah, I apologise as Ebo's gone off at the final corner, handing P8 to Sosmitsky. I do apologise that we didn't give these guys much coverage, but battle at the front was really the main point of attention, so I put most of my focus into that. But yeah, that is going to be it. And Archer said GG deals with TC. Yeah, TC probably was a real handy tool to have. in these conditions, in these cars as well, being very hugely powerful and not as grippy as some of the later machines and if the more modern machines in Formula One. But yeah, Montana, he is going to take out this championship. Well driven from him across these 8 races. I believe winning 6 of them, or 5 of them actually. Yeah, my mistake. He's won 5 out of the 8 races. So yeah, fairly dominant. He looked under pressure at one point from Dylan, but Dylan was unable to quite match his pace and consistency. But he still looks like he could wrap up P2. But that battle is still very much alive, I would say, even though he does outscore both Car Mentalist and RJ. So, looking at the standings, just to confirm, yes, I've not made myself look a knob end. Montana does indeed have this one wrapped up by the looks of things. With Dylan in P2, 51 points back, and look at that, RJ and Car Mentalist separated by just 1 point. Packer isn't too far behind as well. So yeah, still, those 4 guys still have a shot at P2 actually. Toxic just a bit too far back. But yeah, that's going to be it then. So 2nd through 5th, that's going to be the one to look out for. Certainly it'll take a miracle for Packer to make it in, but you never know. Anything can happen in racing, we all know that. But no matter what happens now, Montana is going to be your champion. As now, this is the race that means quite a lot to a lot of people, and to me especially. This is the race with the 1976 Ferrari at Monza, Italy, and the reason this is so special is that this was the scene of one of the greatest comebacks in sporting history. Niki Lauda, after a horrific accident at the Nürburgring just 6 weeks earlier, this is where he returned to racing remarkably, having just gone through his treatment, having his lungs vacuumed, and returning to racing and taking an incredible P4 at Monza. This is highlighted brilliantly in the movie Rush, one of my favourite films. So yeah, this race, and a great choice of car for the track from Ibu and Nico. So well done to those guys. But hopefully these guys can put on a great show for Niki, who we sadly lost a few months ago. So that's my little ramble. But getting into things now. This is going to be the exciting stuff now. Monza, the Temple of Speed. Going to be a slipstream fest for sure. Hopefully we're able to keep things clean, because I want to see some good racing. You know, we've had good battles through all the races, to be fair. But yeah, this is one that I particularly want to see some good stuff going down. With just 2 races to go, voice update. It's not feeling too bad actually. I'm definitely not 100%. My voice probably sounds dramatically different to what it sounded at the beginning of the night. I'm still just giving it my level best though. Trying to put on a good show for you guys. Actually, now that I think about it, it doesn't feel that great, so quick drink. Right. Oh, let's do this. Alright, hopefully we can hold on. Because I'm struggling, guys. I said about 20 seconds ago that I don't feel that bad, but I'm struggling. I'm not gonna lie. Right, here we go then. Lining up. We've got 5 seconds to go before we get going for the Italian Grand Prix. Everyone lined up on the grid. 5 lights. And it's lights down and away we go. Toxic again getting pole position. Now So Cook has just joined in, and you can see cars wheeling about the track there. Everyone trying to find the traction, but everyone is clean as you like. Down in the turn 1 there. And now onto the brakes, trying to keep everything nice and clean. Toxic holds onto that P1. Out wide there on the outside was, I believe, RJ there. He's picked himself up. He's side by side with Ebo. Gets good traction out of the corner. A lot of drivers sliding around. Dan is once again just gets a poor start and drops back. But his Toxic is still on the march. At the front, Packer now getting a good run. He's got to maximise this race if he wants any chance. Oh, and that's into the wall. Goes So Cook, and he's dropped back. He's going to be right there at the back of the field. Dan's going to get past him as well by the looks of things. He's able to keep it out of the way, which is fair enough to him. But yeah, look at this there. This pack of cars racing their way through. It's Ibo and Nico. Ibo and Carmentalus. Carmentalus able to make his way running outside. It's RJ now attacking Packer round the outside. Can he get that done? Packer's caught on the inside. Now they're wheel to wheel. Sorry, I got them backwards there. It's Packer now. Gets his nose ahead with a good move on the outside of the Lesmo. Oh, Dylan's up behind him and he's lost out. Now RJ trying to get back at him, but he's got Carmentalus up his inside. And is he going to go late on the brakes into a Scary? RJ goes aggressively round the outside, but Carmentalus just follows it through. He keeps coming, and now RJ has to slide out, as well as another car spinning in the background. That may have been Eduk, who's actually gone up. No, it's Nico. Nico spinning out of Ascari. He's had rotten luck this week. I keep saying this weekend. Just a natural instinct from that, but he's not had a great night. It must be said. Ebo getting, we've got RJ getting the back end out and actually spinning it. Yeah, these cars are a handful. The great Nicky Lauda proved that you can tame it, but obviously these guys have you a bit more trouble. RJ has gone out. Not sure if the connection's dropped. Nico's gone as well. Okay, now I'm getting worried. I hope that this isn't just the start of a mass disconnection here. Hopefully both these guys can get themselves back in. Hopefully they have backup invites so they can just squeeze themselves back into the lobby, because we want to see them here for the final race of the championship. Carmentalus now chasing down Packer. Both these guys actually 4th and 5th in the standings. So they've got a fight on their hands. And oh, that's Toxic's gone off. Toxic's made a mistake. And now into Lesmo 1. He's going to get challenged up the inside by Carmentalus. And is he going to try and hang it round the outside? He's still there just about. Carmentalus gets a bit out of shape, but he's able to hold on to P2. Now the top 3 line astern. You can throw a blanket over them. As now Carmentalus in the slipstream. Toxic in the slipstream. Down towards the Ascari. And now the slipstream's going to kick into effect there. And up to the outside goes Carmentalus into Ascari. It's difficult to go side by side through here, must be said. But it's Packer who holds his nerve at the front, and he's looking to gain some points on the drivers ahead of him in the standings. Toxic picks up a penalty by cutting the inside of the third part of the Ascari corner, but look at this now. Carmentalus back up to the outside into the Parabolica, has to tuck back in behind. Toxic still looking there, swerves, has a little dive to the inside. It's a bit half-hearted though, so he can't quite make it work, but he's going to get a good exit as Toxic, and he's going to look to try and follow through. In the slipstream, pulls out, but now Carmentalus has got that draft behind Packer. The top 3 now, so close on the track. Here we go now. Packer pulls to the inside, and now Carmentalus goes even further to the inside, and Toxic down the middle. Here we go now, 3 wide into the first chicane. We've got Packer over on the outside now. He's going to get forced out. It's Toxic who gets himself through on the inside. Carmentalus gets good traction out of the corner, so he gets through on Packer as well. But my oh my, great racing between these top 3. Dylan now looks like he wants to get himself involved. Round the Curva Grande now towards Maggio, and now round the outside goes Carmentalus, pulls alongside Toxic. Now onto the brakes. Who's going to be last for the late breakers? Toxic very late on the brakes, and he's able to hold it. Mounts the curb though on the exit, and that's going to put Carmentalus back up the inside towards Lesmo 1, but can't quite follow through. Oh, these guys putting on one hell of a show at the front. Show your appreciation, because this is absolutely crazy mental stuff here between these 3, and I cannot believe it's over for a second. Dylan getting himself out of shape in the background, and that's going to hinder his charge up towards the front. Now Carmentalus down the inside into Ascari. He's going to be late on the brakes as well, so he might be able to complete it. Toxic though, great momentum up on the outside. Of course Toxic does have a penalty, I know that much. I'm not sure about the other 2. Oh, he loses that. Oh, and he's hit the other 2, and it's Packer who goes into the grass. Toxic though with a mistake. That is agonising for him, but thankfully we still get these top 2 now to duel away as Packer round the outside of the Parabolica. Doesn't quite make it work, but he's going to look to get a better exit now, and a strong run down the straight as Carmentalus really struggles, gets up onto the AstroTurf to find the traction that he needs to power himself away. But Packer now coming back at him now to the outside, wheel to wheel towards the first chicane. It might just be Packer that gets himself in front. Carmentalus is going to have to be very late on the brakes if he wants it, but Packer's going to be even later on the brakes, and he pulls through on the outside, runs wide through the second part of the chicane. Carmentalus looking to get back alongside him now. Oh god, I'm going to lose my voice at this rate, but he's not able to quite get through round the Curva Grande, and Packer has the lead towards Maggio. But my word, what a show that these guys are putting on, and it's not over yet. I think I've repeated those 3 sentences in succession twice now in this race. As Carmentelis gets himself out of shape, that is going to cost him dearly. Packer now has that buffer that he's been really searching for so far. But now he's going to try and make the most of it. Carmentelis is not over yet. And a fantastic run through Lismo 1 from him. Puts the pressure back on the American. So here comes Carmentelis now in the slipstream again. Dillon again getting into shape out of Lismo 2. This time it's even worse. Goes into the wall and he might just take out a couple more cars behind him. And thankfully they ghost. Ebo gets up onto the podium from Toxic. That's going to be one to look out for. Behind them though, or sorry, ahead of them I should say, Packer now is starting to feel the pressure from Carmentelis. Carmentelis gets a much better run, much cleaner run coming out of Ascari, and he pulls up to the outside to Parabolica. Here we go, final lap is inbound, and there's a battle going on for P4 as well. Montana breezes past Toxic, and he's now got Ebo in his sights, but up at the front we've got more wheel-to-wheel racing. Packer gets himself in front. Carmentelis now with the momentum, pulls back ahead. He's just got that bit more top speed, or has he? Packer's still there. They come together on the straight. No. Oh no, Carmentelis goes sideways into the wall, and that is going to bring an end to that enthralling battle for the lead. And oh, Packer, oh my word, what's happened? What has just gone on there? Packer and Carmentelis coming together. I'm not sure if he was waiting for him after that. Oh no, and Montana goes through. Ebo had the lead of the race, now he's gone. Montana has just been gifted this. A bit of a mess there, and that is a shame because that race was so thrilling at the front. But now it looks as though Montana was nowhere for most of the race, now has got himself into the front after a really unfortunate incident there, because we were being treated to one hell of a showing, and now it looks to be plain sailing at the front. Oh, Carmentelis has made another mistake, and now he's dropping back. Oh dear. Oh, it's just all gone downhill, hasn't it, for him? He looked like a potential race winner, and now he and Packer further down the field. Toxic's actually fared better than both of them. But yeah, Montana out in front comfortably now. But Ebo to organise this. Oh no, please don't, Ebo, keep it together, man. Come on, just got one more corner to negotiate after this. Ebo could be on for P2 here, but it is Montana who's just been clinical in this race. Didn't look like he quite had the pace, but he's showed that he can still win it. You can see he's still pushing, getting right on up towards the grass. But now, for Nicky, Montana goes around the final corner, and he is going to take this race win. But Ebo, if he doesn't have penalties, which I really hope, he's already celebrating. Ebo gets P2. Edok as well, with a really strong P3 for him. But Toxic actually, behind him, I know he had penalties as well. So Dan gets up into P4 in the end. Packer stays in P6 from Carmentelis. Smetsky gets Dillon on the run to the line, who's had a shocker of a race. And he might actually lose out to a Selcook there behind. Oh, and into the wall he goes. And there we go, that's going to round it off. Woo! That was a good showing. Some incidents on the last lap which weren't great to see. Woo! What? Yeah, V5, I agree, rip my voice, but we've still got another race to go. My oh my. The show continues. The show must go on. But Montana, another win. I think that's his 7th win now. And that one though was a bit mad. He is mentioning that he did get spun round in that race, but the chaos that unfolded on the main straight with a lap to go put him in contention. But gotta give some props to Ebo there. P2, like really well played to him, and Edok as well with P3. So, you know, some surprising results there in that race. Always good to see. And actually, if people hadn't gone off at Ascari, he might have had a chance at that with Montana's penalty. But looking at the standings, this could spice things up. Interested to see. Wait, cool. There we go. So Montana now comfortably ahead. Carmentelis moves up past RJ. Looks as though Dillon is out of reach for RJ now. Looks like Dillon is going to wrap up that P2. Carmentelis though in P3. He's got a small, a very minor chance of taking that. But really he's looking over his shoulder trying to wrap up that P3. RJ's still only 4 points behind. So yeah, fun times ahead. So it's been a fun race. It's been a fun championship. But all good things must come to an end, and we have got another one. We've got a good one in store for you though. Last race at Canada in the 1996 Williams that was driven by Damon Hill, his championship winning car. And I'm not planning to sell this here, but I do have his autobiography that is that goes into good detail of that 1996 season. But yeah, so the Williams, I already mentioned it. They were really good, and they were very good, let's just say, in the 90s. And yeah, another classic car, World Championship winning car for these guys to roll around in at Canada. One of the best racing circuits on the calendar, I'd say. Always promotes some close and exciting stuff, being quite a short lap. So hopefully we'll get a good show from these guys. As we've only got 11 drivers in here now, so a couple of guys have had to pull out, I'm afraid, which is a bit of a shame to see. But hopefully we still get some good stuff happening. Whoa, here we go. We are getting ourselves into this final race, and also my final drink. I'm having to take drinks every race now, so leave me be. Right, my lips are very dry as well. It's been tough for me. I've been commentating for about 2 hours, pretty much non-stop, and believe me, that is not an easy thing to do. To be talking pretty excitedly for 2 hours straight, whew, it's quite a challenge physically, so I'm pretty knackered, and I'm gonna have a lie down after this for sure, and I'm sure some of these drivers will as well, because they've had some pretty intense racing all the way through, but it's by no means over. Here we go now. Final race. I'm running out of things to say. My creativity level and my word choice has just dropped immensely. My brain is fried. My voice is done. But, as I said earlier, the show must go on, and we've still got another race in store for you. Here we go. 4 lights, 5 lights. Here we go. And we're away. Final race of this season there. Dan gets himself away from Packer at the front, but no, Dan's away slowly, and it's Sol actually that gets a good run on the grass there on the outside. I think that was Ebo there who's dropping back and taking out another car of Car Mentalist. That could give RJ a good run. Actually no, RJ's gone. I'm not sure what's happened there, but it's Packer who has the lead. Toxic and Sol though, look at that close proximity. These guys are all racing in, but it's Toxic now trying to hold off the charge of Selcook behind him. Here we go now, has a little look to the inside. Does Selcook, but no, doesn't quite work out. Dylan now behind them, looking to hold on to P2 in the standings from Car Mentalist. I'm not quite sure what the gap is. I believe 22 points if I'm not mistaken, but don't quote me on that by any means. Here we go now, around the first lap there. Packer didn't get the best run out of that chicane, and he's going to be under pressure from Toxic, who we've seen has been able to pull off a move or two so far this evening. And he looks up to the outside, tries to swoop in and get a good exit, but good car positioning from Packer, able to hold on. Now Dylan up behind Selcook, and the top 4 really close there. Throw a blanket over them, as I've said several times already this evening. But down the outside now goes Toxic, wheel to wheel, down into the final chicane. Tough to go side by side through here, but Toxic so late on the brakes, but too late on the brakes. Runs wide, gets a penalty for corner cutting, which is a bit harsh. Oh, and who's gone off there? I think that might have been... That was Edok and Peas, so they've had an incident. I don't know why the camera's not moving. There we go. Toxic has kept the lead, but now has a penalty, so he's got to try and push and get away from Packer. He does seem to have the pace though, as Dylan now getting a bit out of shape. Montana is reeling these guys in now at a rate of knots, and of course he's already got this championship one. He could just go all out, and we'll see him unload himself on all these cars. As now first up is his post-championship rival Dylan now up behind, but it's Selcook has made a mistake, and now Dylan up to the outside, going down onto the bridge. They come together slightly on the straight by the looks of things. Dylan very late on the brakes, and oh, there's been a bit of lag there again from Dylan. I been put off by that many times. Now, Montana is going to have a go for old time's sake, if you like. Moves his way through towards the hairpin, up into P4, and Sol Cook runs wide, up into P3 for Montana now. Dylan following him through, and you know he's not going to lie down from a fight. Here comes Dylan once again. He's lagged backwards, so it's really hard to keep up with him in battles. Up at the front though, Packer still putting the pressure on Toxic. Toxic defends into the final chicane. Is Packer going to do the same move? Round the outside, no he's not. He's going to try and hold back, go for a good exit. Great run there for Packer. Side by side, Dylan picks up a penalty. Cars weaving about in the background, and Packer takes the lead. Up ahead of Toxic. Toxic immediately comes back at him, down the inside, late on the brakes, and it's a good move. He did cut the corner a little bit, but now up to the outside goes Montana. Doesn't quite get through. Packer on it just about holds that. Sol Cook's made a mistake, and he's spinning around, and he drops out from that lead battle. Don't rush first into Carmentalist. They're just about able to keep it clean. And he also Smitsky and Ebo will go through, but up at the front, Montana down the inside of Packer. He's going in very deep though. Packer's going to switch back at him. He's been very intelligent with his moves, Packer. Oh, Montana getting out of shape though, and he slides out wide. Dylan's going to have both of them then up into P2. Montana drops back to P4. Packer holds P3 out of all of that, but Dylan gets himself into P2, and he's looking pretty impressive, must be said, in this race, and outdoing Montana on this lap. So Montana is going to be out for revenge. Here he is now. Up to the outside of Packer. Switches to the inside. That'd be a great move if he can pull that one off. Gets it stopped as well. Packer's got nowhere to go. Great move from Montana. And that might just be the move of the evening right there. Get a round of applause, Montana. That was well done for him, but Packer's not done with yet. It seems to have been going side by side with the car all the time down into this final chicane with the wall of champions looming side by side. Look at this, Montana giving him absolutely no, well, just the bare minimum amount of room, and he's got a penalty, Montana, and spins it into the wall. Montana's just not got to grips with these cars, and now tries to flick spin it round. Oh, Smitsky has to try and avoid the car that wasn't quite clear if it was going to be ghosted. Thankfully it was. And Montana dropping back. He's now got Ibo and Total P's now chasing him down, but it's Toxic now who's been gifted this lead, and now he just has to hold it from Dylan. But Dylan has arguably been the fastest driver in this race, besides maybe Montana, but Montana made the mistake. Dylan, looking like P2 in the championship, is going to be his after a hard fought battle. He's still going to try and get things done and try and put some pressure on Toxic and give us a show. Hopefully we can have a thrilling finale to the race and what has been a thrilling night of racing. So yeah, props to Ebo and props to Nico for sorting all this out. It has run pretty well, not perfectly, but yeah, it has been a good event, and it's been my privilege to commentate over it and stream it for all you guys out there. But anyway, Total P's and Ebo. This is the next battle on track. Ebo tries to park on the exit, and Total P's gets oversteer and hits Ebo onto the grass, and then spins out himself. So Total P's looked like he might have pulled off a nice move, but it's not worked out well for him, and he retires from the race. But now Dylan looks like he's made a bit of a mistake. Toxic has a 2-second penalty. Dylan may have as well. And Packer still there in the background. So everything can change. Carmentalist as well, reining these guys in. He's shown pretty impressive pace. Looks as though Toxic though, unless he makes a mistake, is gonna take this one on track. Hopefully I've not just cursed him there. But we'll see. As behind though, Montana now on the back of Smitsky, who's been a pretty solid midfield runner the entire night, but now down the inside goes Montana. Mistake from Smitsky. He runs wide. Does he keep it out the wall on the outside? Yes, he does, thankfully. So he's going to hold on to that P6. He's a good way ahead of Ebo anyway. As you can see, Packer trying to push and chase down Dylan. Dylan's just not quite brought it on this final lap. But he and Toxic now, it's nip and tuck. If Toxic has a penalty, look at this now. It's going to be 2 seconds that he needs. And now Packer later on the brakes, gets on the curb though, and that's going to compromise his traction. Carmentalist is still there, but he's not going to be able to make an impact on track. So Toxic now looks like this race is going to be his unless the penalties kick things off there. Here we go now, final corner with the wall of champions on the outside. Don't hit it, be nice and clean all the way through it. That's the best he can do. Does Dylan get a better... Carmentalist has got a penalty, but Dylan got a poor run through the final chicane. So is he going to take it? Oh, it doesn't matter, he had a penalty anyway. Oh, right, so Toxic wins the final race. Well driven from him. I believe that's his second win of the night. Dylan P2, Packer P3, Carmentalist P4, Montana takes P5. after spinning it. He probably would have won that race otherwise, but it is what it is for him. Smitsky takes P6 from Dan, Ibo, and Edok will be the last driver to cross the line to round off a very exhausting night of racing for me then. So, well, I'm going to need to lie down after that, I'm sure, as Edok crosses the line. And that is going to wrap things up, guys. So, thanks to everyone that tuned in, thanks to everyone that raced. And yeah, good fun for everyone else, certainly. Hope I've given you guys a good show for you guys. But there we go then. Toxic wins the final race. Monaco and Canada, 2 street circuits right next to each other in the calendar in real life. He clearly went well there, and he takes his 2nd win of the championship, ahead of Dylan and Packer. So, right, lie down is very necessary. My voice is absolutely fried. I tried to give as good of a show as I could for you guys, and I hope I delivered there. So yeah. There we go, the final results then. Toxic takes the win, and you can see Dan's the only one not to get a penalty that finished. Well done to him. And here's the final championship standings. Montana takes it from Car Mentalist. Obviously, quite a few guys that pulled out. We don't get to see where they would have finished, but I think RJ would have lost out to Toxic in the end. Toxic actually takes Packer in the final standings, but Montana is your champion after a night's racing. And yeah, the 10-round championship goes to him. Definitely the standout throughout it. Dylan, who I actually don't know much about, well done to him. Pretty good showing across the night. And looked a worthy challenge to Montana at some point. So yeah, fair play to you, my friend. But there we go. I think that's gonna wrap things up. I'm gonna be heading off though. Just now. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. So yeah. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.